Senator Rick Scott wants you to believe that he takes school shootings seriously, and he has a seriously bizarre idea for what we should do to protect kids. He wants to put armed officials in every school. He calls it the School Guardian Act. But up until this point, you're probably thinking, well, lots of Republicans say that. Yes, but Senator Rick Scott wants to have his cake and eat it too. Not only is he gonna put armed officials in schools, he's gonna do it and pay for it by taking away all of the money they gave to the IRS to actually start looking into elite tax evasion. Isn't that amazing? The two have nothing whatsoever to do with each other, but why not get everything you want with one piece of legislation? So this act that he's putting forward would divert $80 billion designated for the IRS to a national grant program that would provide one or more full-time armed officers in every K through 12 school across the country, of which there are 98,000 public ones and 30,000 private ones. If it is gonna cost $80 billion, at a certain point, if it's that level of national security risk, can we just use the military that we're already paying hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year on? I don't actually want that, just to be clear. But it is amazing that he's come up with a plan that requires not just the same amount of money as has been designated to fund the IRS so it can do its job, but that they will take the literal money that was given to the IRS. If you wanted to use kids as a human shield to protect the rich from their tax obligations, I don't know that you could come up with a more explicit way to do it. What do you think, JR?
It mirrors another story, and I had to try and remember who it was that did it. It was Senator Mike Rounds, and he was talking similar things. You want to fortify these schools. We need to arm them and make sure there's 2 SROs at every door. We're going to eliminate it down to 1 door, by the way, and then shut down all windows and make sure there's boards on those as well. It's going to cost tons of money, Mike. And he said we have a bunch of money that's set aside already for things like solar energy and maybe new energy that can be implemented in some of these schools, which of course hasn't across the country. But we can take that money because who cares about that? So it has this backdoor room deal of then, of course, then continue to benefit those companies that don't work in the solar industry, but work in the traditional old school fossil fuel industry, and we can eliminate those other things. So after things are already passed, money's already allocated for these types of things, let's shift it again and use another tragedy like school shootings to then push more money to these same folks that pay us to do it. And they think people are too stupid to get it. I guess it's either that or people don't have time to pay attention to the way that they're moving money around. So similarly, this is how these things operate. And they'll never say it in broad daylight. Other opponents of theirs, political opponents, won't point this out for some reason. But enough people should know this is how these types of politicians work. They use every possible avenue to take money from useful things and then go into these, by the way, still unattainable type of projects. Because can they really do this across the country? Will they be able to take this money, reallocate it and change it and make sure that their illegal activities continue to be covered up? No, because it'll only go to the ones that they really want it to, because it's still not enough. Every year, are we gonna do it every year? Because it costs tens of millions of dollars every year for this type of stuff.
Yeah, I think you landed on it with they think that people are stupid. Well, stupid, not necessarily stupid, but purposefully ignorant. They have been, the necessary information has been hidden from them. So what they think about that $80 billion for the IRS has been intentionally poisoned by some of the wealthiest people in media. There are many poor conservatives who believe that the IRS is gonna show up at their door with assault rifles to take back $10 or something. That's not why the IRS was defunded in the first place. The idea that you could so successfully convince people that they're gonna be the targets rather than the rich, when those people already say that they're incredibly suspicious of the elites and the deep state and everything. Who do you think has been protected by the IRS being defunded? People who in some cases don't even pay income tax directly? Or people with incredibly complex business empires and income in the hundreds of millions of dollars who do not want to ever cross paths with the IRS. And that's why there was so much work being done, mostly by the right, but in some cases not even, to like befuddle people about why exactly the IRS thing is going. It also, as you point out, serves the purpose of completely distracting from actual efforts to stop these shootings from happening. My goal, and maybe I'm crazy, isn't just to provide a brief like roadblock for a mass shooter, but to stop them from being mass shooters in the first place by getting them help where it's necessary and stopping them from getting the deadly military weapons that they need to commit these acts of mass violence in the first place. Now, I'm gonna give you just a couple of quotes from, actually, we gotta wrap up very soon, but Rick Scott says, the recent shooting of innocent children and educators in Nashville showed us that we need to do better to keep our schools safe. And that starts by bringing effective ideas to every school. These brave individuals are willing and able to step up and protect our kids and teachers from those who wish to do them harm. He is very interested in people stepping up to protect others from harm, but it ain't kids from AR-15s. It's the wealthy from having to pay the taxes that they're due, and that's it.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.